Facebook is trying to delete me. Big tech is trying to delete us, our movement. We must stop them.
Mark Zuckerberg is making a move to open up more free speech on Facebook.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true.
You know how many of my videos you took down? You've censored so many people's profiles for almost no reason whatsoever.
Candidates or policies or their own failing message, so they attacked the one thing that they did not have total control over: social media companies. They applied extreme pressure to silence or censor fake news, which was just a fancy way of saying news that they don't like. Facebook bent to that pressure and created a fact-checker network with godlike powers over all of us. Here is how Facebook fact-checking works. A website you have never heard of, run by partisan beta leftists, stalk the pages of your favorite conservative personalities. Whenever we say anything they disagree with, these fact-checkers write a vicious partisan hit piece. Then they harass us and our audience by slapping hazardous warning labels on what we have posted. Many times, those labels say missing context or disputed. Yes, thanks, Facebook. Every political argument in America is disputed. Every argument is indeed missing some context. But the insanity continues. These hack checkers, as I like to call them, would be just an annoyance, but Facebook gives them the ability to destroy the reach of our content, so we cannot communicate with you. They demonetize our pages so we can't make a living producing content for our audiences. And here is the breathtaking part. Most of these fact checks are pure partisan bile. They are false, fake, untrue. But there is no recourse for your favorite conservative creators. We are held at gunpoint by these partisan hacks, and Facebook is giving them the gun.
But anyway, I guess we got to be Christians. We got to forgive and forget. Again, this seems like it's coming from Elam because, we know what Elam said. Elam said that, I don't care how much money you give me. I don't care what you do for me. I don't care. I want to be able to say what I say.
Offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Okay.
And what's been happening in reality, X is actually very good. For those of you who don't know, over 80% of the videos that I share with you, some of the subjects that I'm talking about and where I get my resources from is from X. WEF, the World Economic Forum, and they were talking about how misinformation and disinformation is like the greatest danger in the world.
The top concern for the next 2 years is not conflict or climate. It is disinformation and misinformation. These risks are serious because they limit our ability to tackle the big global challenges we are facing.
And I thought to myself, like, haven't you guys also been lying to people? Misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. And haven't you guys been part of that? I'm just asking questions. But if your free speech is supposed to be free, you're not allowed to have that. Anyway, let's listen to Mark Zuckerberg. I'll talk some more later. Take a listen.
Hey everyone. I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
So you've seen that, you heard that, right? I don't know how much of this I can believe, but it's still a good look. At least he's trying, right? I can say a little too late with a new administration, right? Things can change whether or not there's going to be some more easy way for us to speak on the platform. It could be a good thing. But others were asking the question back then, like, why were you censoring people and deleting their profiles when they hardly said anything wrong, right? So, yeah, you say, well, this is my platform. We can run it however we want. But here is a private sector being used to control the speech of its members by the power and the commands of the government. In some cases, the government had a backdoor through Facebook and was fact-checking and censoring conversations that were not supposed to take place, especially during the time of the pestilence. You know what I mean? When the pestilence 19 came up, we were not allowed to say a number of things. So how many lives have been lost because you censored a communication that was supposed to go forward? My people are destroyed for what? Lack of knowledge. You keep knowledge away from the people, they make bad decisions. And some of these individuals now, their bodies are plagued with all kind of issues. And you know what I mean? Because the injection had stuff in it that was not supposed to be in it. The people didn't know. When people were trying to sound the alarm, you shut their mouths.
As a journalist, as a member of the media for the past 30 years, I think it's absolutely appalling to watch him shift so dramatically the way that he has. But here's the thing. It's also very understandable because this is a guy that was all about the people, all about free speech, all about free expression and what have you. But then you went about the business of literally limiting conservative voices, of vax skeptics along with other people. And so you did that, and some people accused you of influencing the election in 2020. Why? Because the Zuckerberg initiative, led by his wife, donated about $420 million to causes that they believe help the Democratic cause. So if you're Trump, you're saying, I remember all of this. I remember how you came at me. I remember how you tried to backdoor me and you helped to facilitate booting me out of office. Well, now I'm back in power. And not only am I back in power, I got my man Elon Musk with me, your competition over at X. So all of a sudden you're looking at Mark Zuckerberg and you clearly see him essentially, figuratively speaking, on his knees trying to make amends for some errors that he has made, because the one thing we know that Trump has mastered in terms of its definition as a dictionary is retribution and reciprocation. Mark Zuckerberg knows this, and he doesn't want to be in this man's path over the next few years. So it's very, very predictable what he's doing. And again, no matter how appalling we may find it, it falls in line with what we've known about politicians and surrogates, dare we say, that capitulate to their beck and call because they know it's something in it for them. You would think somebody as rich and successful as Mark Zuckerberg wouldn't be one of those individuals, but he's competing with Elon Musk, who, by the way, tweeted on X, "This is cool." In other words, you're in the same boat that I'm in. Welcome to the party. Let's all be fruitful and multiply. That's basically what they're saying. It's just that some people are slow to catch on.
The lower third on Fox when they were doing this story was Zuckerberg bends the knee. Should we believe him? So obviously they're seeing it the way you did. You remind me of the line from Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. You do that, there's going to be ramifications and repercussions. That's what Trump was saying to Zuckerberg about putting all that money in Democrat pockets. That's why he put your boy Dana White on the board.
But now, I'm a Christian. I'm gonna behave. But I know what these people did to many of our conversations. So that's why some people in the chat room are saying, man, I don't trust this guy. I hear you, Yvonne. Yvonne says, I'm very suspicious. Me too. Somebody said this. Guess who said Facebook was not suppressing free speech? Announces Facebook will stop suppressing free speech. Like in a time where you need heroes, they tend to run away and capitulate to the powers that be. But when you need them to stand for you, they are nowhere to be found. But when things are okay now, things are peaceful now, all is well, they feel confident enough to come back and do what they should have done in the first place. I have an issue with people who do stuff like that. Like you have no backbone whatsoever. Why didn't you stand for people just like you should have done in the first place? Why was that had to be? Why did we have to go through what we went through Anyway, somebody said, I don't trust this guy at all. Me too. I don't trust him. But I will be waiting. We're going to wait and see whether or not these things are so, right? All we can say is, we're going to wait, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. We're going to wait. We're going to wait. We're going to see if you have the ability to do what Elon did. Again, I'm not saying Elon is a perfect guy. But one thing I know for certain, X, like, you say what you want to say here. They will fact check you. They'll put a community note. They do these things. But listen, on X, listen, you get the whole thing, boy. When you're looking for facts, truth, stuff that the media will not speak about, X got it going on, baby. I'm telling you.
I mean, I do think like that old school journalism. I call it legacy media because it is kind of legacy media, because it is from a time when, in order to learn any news, you had to aggregate the news to some central publication, and then some editor would decide what people should hear, and then they'd print the newspaper with like a lot of paper, literally, and then distribute that paper, and that's how you learn things. But you obviously don't need that anymore. You've got the internet, so anyone can learn anything at any time. Yeah, that's why X is the future. It's citizen journalism, where you hear from the people, it's by the people, for the people. That's what it's all about. I think this is a super big deal, and it's absolutely fundamental and transformative that the people actually get to decide the news and what the narrative and what matters, and that because the legacy media is basically controlled by a handful of editors-in-chief. That's it. They decide what's going to get published. That's why I really encourage everyone out there to write stuff on the X platform, and other platforms too. But citizen journalism is the future, and that's where you get to hear from actual experts in the field, people who are experts in any given industry, and you get to hear the rebuttal. So if somebody says something that's wrong or requires more context, people can add that. X has got community notes, which is great. So take community notes, I think is. Got a very good batting average. It's not perfect, but it's got a very good batting average.
You run a YouTube channel and get some information that are solid and basic. Just going on X in a matter of in an hour or so, I can gather enough information to put out so many videos throughout the day. So easy to do. That's how I'm able to pump out those videos one after another. It's because X makes it so easy for me. I got links, articles, videos. Everything I need is there. It's a source of information, and everybody's posting. That's why he's like, this is the new form of social media. This is the new media network. It really is. You can't go to the mainstream media. It's so politically divided, so you can't trust them anymore. But if you go on X, you can do and share your speech. Is Facebook ever going to be an X? I don't think so. They are light years behind what X has been doing. And I'm not saying that Elon Musk is a perfect guy. He's got issues too, but he needs prayer. But when it comes to free speech, I give him some godly respect. Oh yeah, I give him some godly respect. Anyway, much more could be said. I want to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about Mark Zuckerberg coming out now trying to make things right, righting his wrongs? How do you feel about that? Do you think it's political? Do you think it's because he's really that kind of man? Do you think this is an act of repentance? What about the people whose profile has been removed and retracted and deleted? What about that? Even making a move from California to Texas says a whole lot. I would like to hear from you. Share your thought and perspective with me. Link in the description below. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Check out this video. My right, your left. Click that video. You're going to enjoy what I got to say in this one. Have a good one. Bye.